Have you ever found yourself in a relationship that slowly chipped away at your sense of self, leaving you wondering if you were truly worthy of love and respect? It's a tender question many of us, especially as we gather more years and wisdom, might silently ponder. Today, we're going to explore a story about reclaiming our precious dignity and finding true joy in our golden years. This isn't just about love. It's about the profound realization that our true worth blossoms from within, never from the fleeting approval of others. Hello everyone. Welcome back to Elderly Life Lessons. Today, we invite you on an emotional journey alongside an elderly man who, despite his sincerest efforts, found himself subtly entangled in a relationship that seemed to diminish his inherent dignity. He eventually discovered the courage to step away, reclaim his identity, and rediscover the values that defined him. The lessons he learned are immensely powerful and deeply essential for anyone experiencing the nuances of growing older. You'll understand the paramount importance of self-love, how to recognize a subtly draining relationship, and why embracing solitude can be the most healthiest choice. This isn't simply a story. It's a life-affirming message for anyone seeking to reclaim their inner confidence and embrace their true value at any age. In the beginning, everything unfolded like a cherished dream. She showered him with compliments, making him feel vibrant, desirable, and profoundly worthy of love. Her affection was so genuine that he slowly began to believe in a version of himself he had, for a time, forgotten. He went out of his way to please her, treating her with reverence, as she made him feel like the only man who truly mattered. She was a beacon of youth and vitality, making him feel alive in ways he hadn't experienced in decades. But tiny, almost imperceptible cracks soon formed. Her suggestions, framed as well-meaning advice, began with a subtle undercurrent of condescension. "A man your age shouldn't be struggling," she murmured, her tone airy. These subtle remarks escalated into nagging criticisms. Her voice carried an edge of superiority, a whispered reminder that she was younger, fitter, and more vibrant. She frequently reminded him he was too old for her, each time a soft, unexpected slap. He noticed her tone shift from adoration to quiet judgment, yet he convinced himself it was temporary. The tipping point arrived in their most intimate moments. She criticized his performance in bed, using words that devastated his confidence. "You're slow, predictable. I need more," she'd whisper, comparing him to younger men. Yet, she'd offer gentle crumbs of approval, assuring him no one else. He endured, believing love required patience and sacrifice, but the storm only grew fiercer. Her words, once soft, became sharp weapons, cutting away at his confidence until he barely recognized himself. He began to see himself through her eyes, an aging man desperately clinging to youth, a mere relic, pitied or mocked. His choice to stay might seem baffling, but toxic love binds its victims. He was a prisoner, not only of her subtle manipulation, but also of his own profound need to prove his worth. This story is a tender reminder of love's darker side, how it can lift us high, then subtly drag us low. He wasn't merely trying to win her approval. He was valiantly fighting to reclaim a cherished piece of himself he had innocently lost. That fight, more than anything else, was what gently broke him. One tender night, after another hushed argument that left his heart heavy, he retreated to his room, the immense weight of her words pressed down upon his chest. He realized he had, at long last, reached his ultimate breaking point. Standing before the mirror, he took a long, deeply reflective look at the man quietly staring back at him. His wrinkles and gray hair were sacred markers of a life truly lived, of silent battles valiantly fought. Yet, he felt reduced to something less than the magnificent man he truly was. He realized that self-love had to gently rise above all else. It was, in its deepest essence, an act of sheer survival. He simply could not continue living as though his true value depended on the fleeting approval of someone who stubbornly refused to truly see him. He could not keep gently shrinking himself to fit into a world that, quite frankly, did not make generous space for his rich experiences or his quiet wisdom. And so, for the very first time in many years, he made a deeply personal decision, purely and unequivocally, for himself. The very next evening, with a tender mixture of trepidation and newfound resolve, he gently sat down to quietly talk with her. He approached their conversation with a serene calmness. He gently, yet firmly, explained how their relationship had slowly eroded his self-confidence, how he could no longer endure being treated as if he were utterly inadequate. He told her in no uncertain terms that true love should never, ever come at the devastating expense of his precious self-respect. If staying meant sacrificing his inherent dignity, he was prepared to tenderly walk away. She, with a dismissive wave, brushed off his heartfelt words, but he did not waver. For the very first time, he stood firm, powerfully grounded not in anger, but in the quiet, unshakable strength of knowing his own profound worth. It was a bittersweet moment. A cherished part of him mourned the end, while another, more resilient part, quietly celebrated the beautiful beginning of self-respect. When he gently walked out of that house, he felt a strange, yet comforting mix of emotions. There was sorrow, of course, but also an immense sense of relief. A heavy, suffocating weight seemed to magically lift. He realized, with a profound clarity, that he hadn't just walked away from her. He had, with a quiet strength, walked directly towards himself. The days that gently followed were a true test of his newfound resolve. Loneliness, like a quiet, unwelcome visitor, subtly crept in. Nights were hard, but as the gentle days gracefully turned into weeks, he began to notice something truly remarkable. This loneliness, while difficult, was distinctly different. It wasn't the hollow, aching emptiness of being unappreciated. It was, instead, a quiet, dignified solitude that lovingly allowed him the sacred space to rediscover himself, brick by precious brick. He began to reflect on the tapestry of his life with profound gratitude, not regret. He tenderly remembered the younger version of himself, brimming with hope and dreams, and realized that spirited man was still there. Slowly, he began to reconnect with cherished parts of himself he had long forgotten. He reached out to old, dear friends and lovingly dusted off hobbies he hadn't touched in countless years. One beautiful day, he stood gracefully in front of the mirror once more. But this time, he saw someone profoundly different. The man tenderly staring back at him was not defined by his advancing age, but by his quiet, unyielding resilience. Every delicate line on his face tenderly told a poignant story of triumph. Every single gray hair was a cherished testament to the quiet wisdom he had so patiently earned. He no longer saw himself through the fleeting, judgmental eyes of others. He saw himself, profoundly and truthfully, as he truly was, a man of immense value, of quiet strength, of infinite, boundless potential. As the months gently passed, his world began to bloom, vibrant and alive. He journeyed to distant places and found a deep, abiding joy in the smallest, most exquisite things. He realized, with a luminous clarity, that his inherent worth had never depended on the fleeting approval of anyone else. It had always, always been there, quietly waiting for him to lovingly claim it. He learned that true love, the kind that unconditionally accepts, deeply respects, and profoundly values, begins first and foremost from within. It is the boundless love we generously give to ourselves that, with quiet grace, sets the beautiful standard for how others should lovingly treat us. And as he gracefully moved forward, he lovingly carried this profound lesson with him. Life, dear friends, is simply too short to spend it proving your worth to someone who stubbornly refuses to truly see it. Aging, he realized, is not about sorrowful loss. It is about the gentle, profound uncovering of what truly, truly matters. And what mattered most, above all else, was that he had, at long last, found a deep, abiding peace, not in the comforting arms of someone else, but profoundly within the quiet sanctuary of his very own heart. This deeply moving anecdote serves as a profound reminder for us especially for older individuals who may face lingering doubts about love and their inherent self-worth. The gentle yearning for love gracefully transcends age, but it's crucial to remember that its pursuit should never come at the painful expense of our inner serenity, our precious self-respect, or the profound values we've spent a lifetime cultivating. For many, later life brings a tender longing to reconnect with the vibrant spirit of youth. But this desire often carries risks when it leads us to compromise our inherent dignity or to invest in relationships that, instead of uplifting, subtly diminish us. This story is a poignant example where one man's experience transformed into a powerful lesson for anyone torn between their emotions and self-worth. He came to realize that his relationship, despite its initial allure, was not a true partnership, but a subtle, one-sided dynamic that continuously tested his self-esteem. The younger partner couldn't fully appreciate his depth, wisdom, or the gentle vulnerabilities that come with aging. He found himself diligently trying to prove his worth in ways that felt alien, stepping away from his authentic self. At first, the excitement of this new connection blinded him to the delicate cracks. Like many older individuals, he wanted to feel needed and alive. But as time unfurled, he began to discern the quiet, profound cost, not just the immense energy he poured into it, but the subtle. Ending the relationship was by no means easy. It required immense, quiet courage and profound self-reflection. Yet it was precisely in this courageous act of tenderly walking away that he beautifully reclaimed his own unique identity. He realized that love, in its truest form, cannot thrive where one feels the constant need to perpetually prove their worth. True love is deeply rooted in mutual respect, where both partners lovingly see and honor each other. By gracefully stepping away, he profoundly demonstrated the immense power of self-love and the paramount importance of prioritizing one's inherent dignity above all else. If you're still gently watching and find these comforting lessons useful, please kindly comment "Toby" below. This profound realization was a true turning point. He began to perceive the relationship not as a sorrowful failure, but as a deeply profound learning experience. It tenderly taught him to value himself more deeply and to lovingly set boundaries that would gracefully protect his inner peace. He came to understand that his worth as a man was not tied to meeting someone else's expectations or to futilely reliving the ephemeral glory of his youth. Instead, his intrinsic worth lay deeply within his unwavering integrity, his quiet resilience, and his profound commitment to living authentically, even in the gentle face of subtle criticism. For those of us in our cherished later years, this tender story holds a powerful lesson. Every gentle wrinkle, every silver strand of gray hair is a sacred symbol of the rich life we have so lovingly lived and the profound wisdom we have so patiently gained. To sorrowfully sacrifice that wisdom, to tenderly deny the inherent dignity that so gracefully accompanies age for the fleeting, superficial approval of another, is, in its essence, to lose sight of the immense richness and beauty of our unique life's journey. Older people intimately understand the profound value of self-respect and the paramount importance of living in beautiful alignment with one's deepest principles. Key lessons for older individuals navigating relationship challenges. The illusion of youth. It's essential to remain grounded in reality. Youthful energy is alluring, but it's never a substitute for genuine connection and profound respect. Giving your energy to someone who can't truly appreciate your depth often leads to feelings of inadequacy, the danger of compromise. True love should never demand you sacrifice your core values or accept diminishing treatment. The fear of loneliness can drive people to tolerate what they wouldn't have in earlier life. Love should be a sanctuary of mutual respect. The importance of self-love. To be loved fully, we must first deeply love ourselves. This means embracing our strengths, vulnerabilities, and the beautiful scars life has left behind. Self-love is the unwavering foundation of every healthy relationship. The power of integrity. Your true worth is defined by your integrity and resilience, not your age or fleeting ability to conform to societal expectations. This integrity transforms challenges into symbols of strength and wisdom, the gift of reflection. Every relationship, no matter how difficult, is an opportunity to learn and grow. Reflection helps us understand ourselves and what we need to thrive. This story is a profound testament to the quiet courage it takes to prioritize oneself, even when it means walking away from something familiar. It reminds us that true happiness isn't found in others' validation, but in the quiet confidence that blossoms from living in alignment with our deepest values. For anyone in their later years, struggling with relationship challenges, let this be a radiant beacon of hope, a tender reminder that it's never too late to choose dignity, self-respect, and profound authenticity over fleeting illusions. He once deeply believed that patiently enduring harsh criticisms in love was an act of noble sacrifice. However, he realized what he thought was selflessness was the gradual erosion of his intrinsic dignity. Love should never demand you abandon yourself. It should inspire mutual growth and respect. Loving yourself isn't selfish. It's a moral obligation and the bedrock of healthy relationships. Recognizing you deserve kindness, respect, and affection isn't a luxury, it's an undeniable right. Without this, love can become a confining cage. This revelation was painful, but it was the very first step toward reclaiming his life. The most difficult, yet profoundly transformative lesson came when he found the courage to simply say, "Enough," to tenderly walk away. It was a moment of profound liberation. He realized that choosing to gracefully walk away from a toxic relationship was not a sorrowful failure, but an unequivocal act of magnificent strength. Solitude, which he had once feared, now, with gentle grace, became his cherished refuge. In the quiet embrace of being alone, he discovered a profound truth: the deep, abiding peace that blossoms from self-respect is worth far, far more than the fleeting comfort of a dysfunctional, draining relationship. If you're still gently watching and find these comforting lessons useful, please kindly comment 3 below. For the very first time in countless years, he experienced what it truly felt like to simply be enough for himself. Solitude offered him the chance to lovingly rebuild his self-esteem. It became a sacred time of deep reflection and profound renewal, where he could lovingly explore his desires and values without judgment. He learned that being alone isn't something to fear. It's a magnificent opportunity to lovingly rediscover the cherished parts of yourself that were lost in the shadows of someone else's demands. As he embraced his tender journey, he began to perceive aging not as a sorrowful loss, but as a magnificent, profound gift. The marks of time, the tender wrinkles, the silver strands of gray hair, the slower pace, are not signs of decline, but cherished badges of honor. Each delicate line told a poignant story of unwavering perseverance. Every gray strand was a sacred symbol of profound wisdom patiently earned. He understood that those who tirelessly chase the superficial will never truly appreciate the exquisite depth of a person's soul. Trying to mold himself to fit someone else's shallow standards would have been a profound betrayal. He learned to take immense pride in his rich experiences and to lovingly embrace his own unique story. And in doing so, he found a glorious new sense of profound freedom, a freedom that blossomed from no longer seeking fleeting validation from those who simply couldn't see his worth. One of the most profound lessons he learned was about the delicate balance of giving and receiving. Physical closeness is a profound language of love. While he no longer possessed the physical vigor of youth, his gentle touch, his unwavering attentiveness, and his willingness to prioritize his partner spoke volumes. However, he learned that love must, absolutely must, be mutual. Acts of love and genuine closeness should never feel like burdensome obligations or be met with cold indifference. True intimacy gracefully thrives on mutual respect, deep understanding, and the genuine acknowledgement of each other's heartfelt efforts. he realized that love simply couldn't flourish without genuine reciprocity. His tender gestures needed to be truly valued. This profound understanding brought him a beautiful clarity. True love isn't about giving endlessly without receiving. It's about creating a sacred space where both cherished people feel deeply seen, truly heard, and profoundly valued. Without that sacred foundation, even the most heartfelt gestures sadly lose their deepest meaning. In the gentle end, he came to perceive that gracefully walking away wasn't the sorrowful end of his story. It was, in fact, the glorious beginning of a vibrant new chapter. A chapter where he no longer needed to tirelessly prove his profound worth to anyone, because he, at long last, truly recognized it within himself. Through the tender pain of letting go, he found a strength he didn't know he possessed. He found peace, not in someone else's approval, but in the quiet certainty of his own value. Life, he realized, is simply too short to spend it tirelessly trying to please those who can't appreciate the depth of who you are. The greatest love story, he discovered, is the one you write with yourself. As he looked back on his journey, he felt not regret, but gratitude for the lessons, the pain, and most importantly, the chance to rebuild his life on a foundation of self-respect and authenticity. Life is a truly magnificent journey of countless lessons, profound growth, and tender rediscovery. What resonated with your heart the most? What profound lesson from this tender story will you lovingly carry into your own beautiful life? We would absolutely adore hearing your heartfelt thoughts. Please share one thing you've learned and plan to lovingly practice in the comments below. Your beautiful insights could truly inspire others. We're so glad you joined us today. If something touched your heart or sparked a new idea, share it in the comments. We'd really love to hear from you. Your words mean a lot to us and help keep this channel growing. If this video is helpful for you, please give it a like, share it with someone who might need it, and don't hesitate to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to spending time with you again in the next video.